So forgetting your driving license will soon be a thing of the past. Digital smartphone driving licenses are on course to arrive later this year. This is Money Can Confirm. I mean, is it just a bunch of AI for journalists or just activists with access to various AI software? I mean, maybe it's a combination of both and much more, but yeah, that could have been written better. Anyway, so the major update, because look, how people have been programmed, especially over the last couple of decades, yeah, driver update, firmware update, and always told, hey, this makes it better. The reality is not always the case. Let's just say that. Anybody involved in or had some experience in IT, as an example, would reflect and relate to that. So, I mean, this is about the digitalization reforms aimed to improve ways for people to interact with the government digitally, because we're going for a digital ID. They don't have bought and paid for puppets still on the go like Tony war criminal Blair. Yeah. Weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? Anyway, and so much more. What was another one he got in on 97 about? Oh yeah. If you're an old person and you own a home, if you have to go into care, you don't have to sell your house. By the way, it was one of the first things they 180'd on. Yeah. A bit like, Starmer, the farmer, Harmer. Yeah. Everything he said he was going to do before getting in, 180'd. Let's not milk the point, but yeah. So it's coming, yeah. And of course, the young team, by and large, won't see the dangers of it, the centralization of control, basically, transparency between you and government in every aspect of your life, of which they seek capital and your early demise. And let's face it, when they are, and I'll leave you a link to this, an individual called Bernie, Net Zero, the Climate Change Committee on Wales, 5 big changes people in Wales will need to make to meet net zero targets, including less meat. Now, there's a play on words there, and it would be nice if people left links more often. I try to myself, but, it's useful. Anyway, I found this, and of course, surprise, surprise, it's about forcing people to switch from boilers, gas boilers, which are so much more efficient, to heat pumps, which certainly aren't. Diesel and petrol for electric. Eat less meat and dairy. Remember, they're now talking about 10 grams of meat per day. Think about that. Limit flights. Have much less animals, basically, cattle, sheep, you name it. Anything that's a first-class quality protein, nah, that's not for you. No, for the people running the show, absolutely. Oh, listen, let me assure you, it makes them appreciate the fact of what they're consuming so much more, because denying everybody else access to it. That's why they have this thing called longevity, yeah, and so much more. I mean, really, there's people, if you even look at so many cities, right, and they'll have some really well-to-do area, and it is so pleasant, yeah, but in their day-to-day, they have to drive past some shithole, and that way, for many of them, it makes them feel the whole experience is that much better. Seriously, you think I'm joking here? That is just a fraction of the mindset of the people you are dealing with, especially the underlings, yeah? Go along to get along, create, innovate, yeah. Our lives from reasonably long to a lot shorter. Let's just say that, yeah? But this is all part and parcel of it, and remember what they're talking in relation to digital money, to, and not least, how long it exists in your account, what it can be spent on and what it can't be spent on, and ties in with the Chinese-style social credit score while slowly killing you. And not so slowly, because that will be tied into, the next, scam as regards some deadly virus. And it'll be, sorry, do you get any sort of government support? Well, if you don't take those jags, and each and every one of them, well, you're not going to get access to any cash. And even those with some wealth, independent wealth, working. Yeah, well, we're just going to have to fine you and take some money out of your account. And you said hurty words, we're going to have to take more. And, well, look, we're all in this together, yeah, for Gaia Mother Earth. Remember, a trace gas is 0.04%. Seriously. If it gets much lower than that, we lose all plant life. But no, we'll spend billions on extracting a trace gas out of the air and store it underground. Even although it's an absolute lifeblood of plants. In fact, if you pumped it in, and it has been demonstrated, even power stations pumping CO2 into industrial-sized greenhouses, and the growth rate was so much more. Yeah, none of this is rocket science. I keep saying this, we're dealing with an interconnected death count on a power trip, and it's never enough. Seriously. The fact that anybody accepts this, 5 big changes people in Wales will need to make. Now, remember these puppet fuckwits masquerading as politicians, these essentially underling occultists in various networks who have got high skills in theatrics, because a lot of the public actually believe that they're working on their behalf, or dictating to you while making out like bandits, and none of them suffering from the same constraints that they are projecting on the rest of us. Yeah. And that really, really, really needs to change. But and what I mean by that is to recognize, and just by literally the data, the reams of data, none of these people, politicians, councillors, and none of them are actually working on your behalf. They're dictating how you live and charging you more and more by the day for less and less. And even when you look at properties now, areas that would normally be quite easy to sell a property in, several factors, not least of which is go with the flow and getting heat pumps and then finding out huge bills, yeah, and of course the ever-increasing council tax by part of their powers, yeah, because it is a bunch of occultists and they are waving wands at the rest of us, and it is a form of spellcasting, because anybody wearing this, yeah, they're under a delusion. A mass delusion. Anyway, your thoughts. And as always, I could do a better job, but hey, subscribe anyway. Hey, maybe even give it a thumbs up. I'll speak to you soon.